Not get a chance to jinx it. The Edward Cabrera no-hitter for the Marlins was just broken up as we went on air. Like, for those that believe jinxes were real or not real, whatever, I was going to say, hey, stud pitcher for the Marlins, Cabrera, is throwing a no-hitter in Coors Field, and right on cue, right as we're going on air, gets a base knock. That's CJ Cron. So there goes the no-hitter. Can't blame me. Can't blame curses and things of that sort. It is the flagship show here at Rotogrinders, 5 o'clock. Talking tonight's main slate. We're here for 2-ish hours plus. Well, myself and Will, we're here for an hour and a half. We're doing the brunt of the work, by the way. You ever do the math in that, Will? We're doing an hour and a half's worth of work, and then we hand it off to crunch time. They knock out the last half hour. It's like they're the airplane, with the guy, the guy with the sticks at the airport. We're flying the plane, and Carty's got the sticks is the point I'm making.
Hey, I'm not getting into that because I'm on crunch time just as much as I'm on GrindersLive. So I plead the fifth. And if you will indulge me, I've got a sweat going here. So
what do you have? Tell me what's going on.
I don't want to talk about it.
We just said jinxes aren't real. You're going to mention that you have a sweat. You're not going to tell me what it is. The people want to sweat with you. Will, you're in the prop shop, and the big thing you say about the prop shop is it's a joint sweat. We're all sweating together. Well, I want to sweat with you. I'm not going to mush you.
Well, I need Mike. I need Wright to pick up 5Ks. He's at 5. Had a chance to punch 2 guys out, walk the guy, and then this other guy just grounded out.
He's at 5.
No, I mean we need him at 6. Sorry, the line was 5.5. He's coming back out, so I'm not worried
right now.
Yeah, he just grounded out. I'm not worried. I'm just saying. He had a shot in the last 2 bats here to get him, and but either way, I think I think he'll get it in the 5th. I'm not worried, Dean. It's not that. It's just in the prop game, you'd rather just go ahead and see it, right? Let's just see
it over with.
Yeah, let's get it over with. Don't stretch this thing out. And we were hoping he wasn't going to stretch it out and go into the 5th, especially when he was getting a little bit closer to the bottom of the order, and now he's going back to the top. He's got to deal with Varsho and Rojas and Marte, and you know what I mean. Like we'd rather him just go ahead and knock this thing. He had a shot, but either way, I'm not sweating it. I'm actually very regretful that I did not take the Madison Bumgarner over 1.5 walks. Like that's one that I should have taken. He was sitting around an 8% K rate. Was going to face a fair amount of righties today, and I should have known to just take that one, and I did not. And I know this is is this a FanDuel sponsored show, by the way?
So FanDuel sponsors Crunch Time. We have no official sponsor.
Oh, good. So I can talk about PrizePicks as much as I want.
On today's show, there's no official sponsor.
PrizePicks, please pick this show up when I'm on. I'm gonna promote the brand, but PrizePicks now has a plethora of categories, D, for all sports. So for baseball, they've got pitching out, strikeouts, first inning runs allowed, first inning hits allowed, total home runs by a combination of 2 or 3 or 4 players, pitcher fantasy score, pitches thrown, earned runs allowed by the pitcher, hits allowed by the pitcher, walks allowed, hitter fantasy score, total bases, hits, walks, runs, RBIs. I mean, the board is loaded. Same thing for NHL. They've got shots on goal, goalie saves, goals in the first 10 minutes, points, assists, goals allowed, fantasy score, face-offs won, block shots, and hits. I mean, it's fantastic, Dean.
8-6 was it last night? I don't know if you watched the game or you dialed.
Oh yeah,
but that was a wild game. Colorado.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we definitely had some McKinnon overs on his taco. PrizePicks does a Taco Tuesday where they give you a discount on a prop, and McKinnon was at 3. He finished with 4. His original line was at 4.5. Some of the guys in the shop took the over on the taco, under on the original line. Got it right at 4, so they hit the in between. You just can't make this stuff up. So, really excited. Hopefully, the YouTube chat isn't going crazy because we're not talking about traditional DFS just yet. For those of you,
they're fine. They know that. Look, they're comfortable because they're going to be here for the next 2 hours, and anything they want us to talk about, we're happy to talk about. What's up, YouTube? Hit that. They smashed the like button yesterday. I do want to appreciate I don't know what it was, like an all-time record or whatever. We handed it off to TJ and Roth and the crew. We gave them like 90 likes or something like that, which, typically they got to fight for. But yeah, and I don't like to beg and let's just knock it out. Like, hit the button now and get it over with. So I don't have to repeat it later. But yeah, please, we appreciate y'all hitting that like button. Oh, I have one more thing to ask. I'll save it for later when we get a bigger audience or so. No, let's just knock it out now. You know whose birthday is today? Producer Devin. Producer Steve's producing this show. Devin's usually lurking as well. Let's bombard his Twitter and let's let Twitter, Devin know, wish him a happy birthday and all that kind of stuff. And just tell him happy birthday and tell him your favorite vegetable. How about he would appreciate that, I think. That's Devo Knievo. That's DEVO KNEVO. Hit him up on the old Twitter. Tell him you appreciate Devin and all his hard work here. That's not too hard, right? Well, I think they can knock it out for us.
Yeah, that's not too hard. Hit him up. Devo Knievo.
Yeah, I think it's a play on Evil Knievel. I don't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we have.
Yeah, Devo, I guess, is a nickname. That's close enough to Devin. I suppose that works. But yeah, wish Devin a happy birthday. Tell him your favorite vegetable. He would appreciate that. Hopefully, he's doing well today. Oh, the chat's talking about Seattle, and that's one of my favorite teams. We're going to talk about in a second. I think they're kind of sort of somewhat under the radar. And by the way, you mentioned PrizePicks. If you want to dabble, if you've not done it just yet, you can get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the promo code Grinders for PrizePicks. They also, I did notice, I don't know if you mentioned in that whole ramble, but they give you 3 guys, like 3 hitters, and you bet over under as far as home runs. That's kind of like home run props in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you like that, or do you not like that, or what?
So I like it when I feel like it's the right situation. So the other night, if people listen to me, Dean, and you remember we were on this show.
You said Ashby. I remember.
Talked about Ashby, but I also kept telling people, please play the Baltimore Orioles. And I gave out specific names. Mountcastle, Mancini, Santander. They all had huge games. You remember that, Dean? I was on the show with you, I think. And so if you were on PrizePicks, the combination was Mountcastle, Mancini, Santander. If you took the over on that home run prop, you won that one. I do feel like those props are a really high variance when I've got what I feel like a lot more control over my pitching props and then some of the first inning hit props. So it's 1.5 hits, Dean. That's typically the what it is. So you get 2 hits within the first inning, whether it's one team gets 2, the other gets 2, one team gets 1, the other team gets 1. We're good. So I like to take those into consideration when we've got 2 really rough pitchers. So like last night, I took that with the Mets against in the Mets game when they were facing Corbin, of course. And I mean, they lit Corbin up. And it worked out perfectly. I think it was yesterday. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure it was yesterday, or maybe the day before. Either way,
it all kind of melts together. But Corbin definitely did not pitch well versus the Mets. I think it was yesterday,
and so,
the day before.
So all of these categories come together to help you be profitable day to day. We've got guys in the prop shop that are what I consider to be experts at hockey, and it just all works together. So. They've got a really big challenge coming up, and I'm not trying to just promote PrizePicks, although because of their recent surge in what I like to call other props, I just don't see how I need to play. Well, I won't say that. I guess I don't know if I'm allowed, but PrizePicks is absolutely my favorite site for props. And you've got a really big contest coming up for the month of June. And if you can complete all 10 legs, and we've done this before in the prop shop. So the first one, it was a road to 56, where if you completed all the legs up to the Super Bowl, you would receive a free entry, Dean, a free 5 flex entry for $5,000.
Okay.
That's huge, Dean.
Yeah.
A free 5 flex for you to win $5,000. But you had to complete every leg, right, along the way.
So that's like they're giving you 500 essentially because it's 10-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you win, earn 5,000. So so it starts out easier, and of course it gets harder as you go along, right? Like they're not just going to hand it to you; you got to complete it. Well, they've got one for NBA that's coming out for the NBA championship, and this one's going to last pretty much most of the month of June. But same thing, if you complete all 10 legs, Dean,
yeah,
you're going to get a free entry to win $5,000. I don't know. I just feel like, man, it's so rewarding to be a participant in the PrizePicks on the PrizePicks site. So if you haven't hopped on PrizePicks, promo code Grinders, hop over there. They're going to give you a bonus, deposit bonus when you make that deposit. And I just think it's a fantastic site. All the guys over there. Shout out to Brett and the crew. Ethan, my guy, for doing so many good things over there in PrizePicks land. And that's it. I guess we want to talk about this slate.
By the way, you mentioned your Discord channel. Your Discord channel is free. That is the prop
It's
shop.
Free, Dean. It's free.
I know. Should I have emphasized that even more? Did I not
free.
do a good job of selling the fact it's free?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's free.
Yeah.
And you're making money.
Well, then that sounds like a net.
You're getting the winners. It's free.
Yeah. Go to Rotogrinders.com/Discord. Hit up the prop shop. That is free. There are some premium channels for premium members. One premium channel that is free for everybody tonight is the PGA Premium Discord channel. That is free today. It is free tomorrow. I presume the golf gets kicked off tomorrow. And that's also why the day before we're giving away STL cards, PGA GPP premium breakdown article that is free for everybody today as well. So you just go to rotogrinders.com, find yourself Cards' article under the golf banner, easy peasy. And again, if you want to talk some golf in the premium channel, by all means, go to rotogrinders.com/Discord and hit up that channel. It'll be free today, free tomorrow. Let's talk about the slate. And, it's an 8-gamer. Is that a good number? They're talking in chat, basically. Like, what's the perfect number? Like, a lot of people seem to like basketball, like 6, 7, 8 games. Like, that's kind of the sweet spot. Is there a sweet spot in baseball for you? I like about 10, 11.
Yeah, 10 does feel good for baseball, I think. But 8 is fine, right? I mean, I think with 8, but for me, Dean, I think it depends on the construction of the slate. If you got an 8-game slate and all the pitchers are bad, like, it's awful. I mean, it's just awful. But when you've got an 8-game, but when you've got an 8-game slate and you've got enough pitching to carry you there, like, I like it a lot.
So, 8-gamer going down tonight. Oh, I should mention the weather, by the way. There's a potential dicey situation tonight for Yankee Stadium. It's yellow-orange, so let's not totally freak out about it. And I believe this has been updated by Roth because this looks like this has changed because Boston was a little bit dicier earlier. Now it's yellow-green. Fairly certain this is the newest information we have, and that sounds about right because this is around the time Roth updates it. And I'll go ahead and drop this link in chat for the people as well. Nothing to freak out about just yet, but we have green, yellow in Baltimore, yellow, orange in New York, and yellow, green in Boston as well. The only thing that I think that was popping from a weather edge perspective and a positive sense that I saw, not too long ago, and this stuff changes, everything's fluid, weather is fluid, obviously, was Baltimore. Let's see if that's still the case. Yeah, Baltimore's got the fire emoji, 102 game sample size, 89 degrees. Wind is blowing out to right center as well, 9 miles per hour. We've seen a bump of over 14% as far as homers in that 100 game sample, runs jumping at 10% as well. Everything else is basically Oh, and Chicago, we have a reverse situation. The Cubbies, that of course is the most volatile, highest variant ballpark when it comes to weather. 107 game sample, a decrease in homers of 32%. Milwaukee versus the Cubbies, 14% decrease in runs. So not nearly as appealing of a hitting environment as it has been the last several days. And the total shows that at 8, despite the fact that Kyle Hendricks and Art Vandelay, Jason Alexander, throwing baseballs tonight in Wrigley. Go ahead and drop this for the chat for the people. If you're not, they can figure it out on their own, but just in case, here's the link for Ross updated weather. What is your 10,000 foot view of this slate? We have some good pitchers, no brainers. Dodgers got a 5.5 team total. They're going to be reasonably popular. I like that Seattle team against Bradish. This ballpark, of course, they moved the fences back out there in left field, but I still think Seattle is well positioned to do some damage. And I think the most volatile of situations in this slate, it's just a wild one, is Fenway, where Hunter Green. It's just electric. And you just watch his some of his gifts, some of the stuff he put, it's how does anybody hit this ball? But he's given up 3 homers per 9, which is insane. That should go down at some point. The samples aren't huge against Boston. Boston, by the way, leading off Frenchie Cordero, no Kike. Enrique Hernandez is not playing baseball today. So what do you have as far as your screenshot of this slate?
I mean, for like we said, an 8-game slate, a lot of good pitching. I think there are some differentiating spots for the bats. Of course, I think there's always a differentiating spot just because of the nature of how these slates go. I think on the surface it looks like we should be playing one team, but I really think there's another team that's really positioned to do some damage here. And I think it's a good spot for them. And we are going to talk about it, of course, but I feel like everybody's going to pile up on Seattle. And I definitely think that's the right play. I'll use one of your phrases, Dean, in a vacuum, right? I think that's the right play.
Yeah, that's not mine. I didn't come up with that. I stole it. I'm sure somebody said it before me, but yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely think it's the right play. But I think we've got another option here that, in my opinion, is right on par. And I'm hoping that it comes together for us.
So are you going to tell me the team that we're supposed to play, is it Seattle, or is it a team you're just kind of teasing?
I think we need to play the Yankees today.
Yeah. Do you think they're not going to get played?
I don't think they're. So I feel like Seattle's going to become the popular team really late, as they should, because they've got all the factors, right? Weather, bad pitcher, everything's kind of lining up. Whereas the Yankees, I feel like the ballpark's going to be great. It's not going to be as hot there, of course, but I just think they really line up well, in my opinion, to kind of destroy Reed Detmers here. And so if you go to Plate IQ, and I don't think we're doing screen share today, but Reed Detmers has a 17.1% K rate on the season and a 5.32 xFIP, and 10% to lefties, 19% to righties. But Dean, he's mostly throwing fastball, mostly. I mean, he's 50% or more both sides of the plate, and he's throwing it around 93.5 miles an hour, roughly. Well, if you look at the contact numbers, because in my opinion, the Yankees are still a somewhat high strikeout team from time to time, right? But if you look at the contact numbers, DJ LeMahieu, 91%, Aaron Judge, 82%, Rizzo, 87%, Gleyber Torres, 82%, Miguel Andujar, ironically, 92%, Aaron Hicks at 68%, which isn't great, but Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, 97%. And then you've got Higashioka and Gallo at 61%. But there's enough high contact guys. And then you go and look at the ISO. You've got Judge at 762, Rizzo 353, Glaber at 500. I just think they're going to go under the radar enough. And so, with some of these guys, I think the Yankees are going to mash here today, just based on, these factors alone. So I'm really excited to get some Yankees exposure.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool that Detmers threw a no-hitter. Good for him. You can tell his grandkids, congratulations. But the rest of the season's been pretty terrible. Actually, the no-hitter wasn't that impressive outside of throwing a no-hitter. It wasn't like a really good one. Like, it was like maybe 2 or 3 strikeouts or something like that. He got lucky as far as BABIP. Good for him as well. But he's just not somebody. And he's also like one of the bigger prospects in baseball too, for what it's worth. But obviously not a complete project. I'm pulling up our DK ownership stuff as far as the Yankees. No surprise, Judge, you're getting kind of a discount on him at 5.3K. I would call that a discount on DK. Typically, he's like close to 6, if not over 6 sometimes. So 30% on him. That's a big old number, obviously. But otherwise, like 16% for Torres, DJ LeMahieu. Never really a fun roster in 2022. Everybody else is less than 10%, basically. And some of these guys are super cheap. Hicks, cheap on FanDuel as well. Andujar, the same deal. Gallo, just batting 9th these days, just kind of weird. They just walked Jazz. So it looks like the Marlins with the bases loaded again, if you're paying attention to such things. Big game for Jazz Chisholm. Shout out to Chopper. He banged out a homer earlier today. Yeah, so they're going to grab some ownership. It's hard to hide on such a slate, and Detmers is not somebody that I don't think people are afraid of necessarily. And I thought you were going to say the Dodgers are the one that people are going to attract to, and I'm pretty sure that Quintana was the guy. He's been awesome this year from an ERA perspective, and that's your thing, like results-oriented stuff. Like his ERA is 2.15, which is spectacular. It's pretty fraudulent. He's got a BABIP of 265, which, that there's some regression monster coming his way. Sierra suggesting, that the 215 is outrageous because a 4.24 Sierra is where more realistic what his ERA kind of sort of should be. And of course, the Dodgers are really, really good at baseball as well. They have the highest team total. That's a tricky one. I just don't know what to do with them on this slate. Like, of course, you're supposed to play them. Salary is a thing as well, too. And they're probably going to get, a fair bit of eyes on them as well. What are your thoughts? What are you doing with the Dodgers tonight? I'm not really certain I'm going to get there over the field. I imagine I'll have at least one team just because. But, yeah, Dodgers, what do you have for me?
Yeah, I definitely like the Dodgers. They get to face Jose Quintana. And so, I think it's an okay spot. I don't feel like it's the best spot, right? Not the best spot of the night by any means. The problem is the Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball, and they could absolutely, murder anyone. So I like the Dodgers. It is 80 degrees there, at least currently. Probably going to be, in the upper 70s, lower 80s when the game kicks off, I hope. And so I think it's an okay spot. Give me 1 second. There is one thing I wanted to mention about.
Let me just go ahead and address, see people in the chat talking about the weather in New York. I did drop the link in chat, what Roth had to say. Orange, yellow, which again, the dominant color is first. So orange, a little bit scarier to be first. He's saying it's raining right now pregame. That rain should be clearing in time for the first pitch. After that, we've got a bit of a dry air, maybe 90 minutes or so before we start to see more scattered showers and storms move in. Not sure what they plan to do here. Best guess here is that they get half or more of the game in without issue, then run into some rain that may or may not play through. So again, Roth will be on in about an hour. He'll give you a better outlook as far as what's going on, more information closer to lock, closer to first pitch. But right now, we're just going to talk about it as if it's going to go. No point in speculating and then, adjust accordingly based on what Roth says later. So, yeah, there is a chance. There's a shot they just flat out postpone this early and just say it's a mess. And that would change the slate dramatically because you have the Yankees are going to be popular to some degree. And then you have Nestor Cortez, the power of the stash. Maybe that stash can somehow blow the storms away. I don't know how powerful that stash is. It's been phenomenal from a pitching perspective.
They need to call up Johnny Lasagna. Do you remember Jonathan Lagasioka? I think that's what his name. We called him Johnny Lasagna.
Yes, I did. Loizaga? Wasn't Loizaga? Is that his name?
I can't remember.
What happened? He must have got hurt, that guy. I don't think he's like, maybe he's in the minors. I suppose that's possible too. But is he on the team? Okay, yeah, I don't know the
Johnny Lasagna, yes.
There you go. By the way, Chief, not to alarm you or anything, but Wright's got 2 strikes on Walker right now. I know that's not a jinx or not a non-jinx, but it's a 1-2 count. The prop shop is getting excited. There's a chance to get his 6th strikeout.
Yeah, double play, man. I don't think he's going to get it.
That's a bummer.
I don't think they bring him out at 93 pitches.
Geez. Oh, well, sorry. Oh, you got some 4 out of 5.
I mean, just
yeah. Well,
that's crappy, Dean. That's I'm telling you, it just. And here's why. That's why I was telling you. Remember, I was like the bottom of the order. He had the bottom of the order buried twice, and he walked him.
Yeah.
It's like,
this is what the people want. They enjoy watching people live tilt. It's rough. We've all been there, man. I'm sorry.
Oof. I mean, especially when you're getting other things right. It's like, and he was on my video of the day. Like I figured he would get there. He ended up walking too many guys today. And he walked 5 guys. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, strikeouts were there, had some guys buried. So yeah, man, we had Antonio Senzatella over 5.5 hits. He had 13 hits.
Everybody for the Marlins starting lineup has at least 1. 7 of the 9 have at least 2 hits, and 3 guys have at least 3 hits for the Marlins. They are pummeling the baseball in Coors tonight.
Yeah. And so, it's just one of those things, man. We need guys to get there. I mean, hey, stranger things have happened. Maybe he comes back out, but
maybe.
I don't think he's coming back out. He hasn't really passed.
I don't either.
100 pitches this season. So nothing I can do. So thanks everyone. Thoughts and prayers. It is what it is.
By the way, this is the front half of this Rockies Marlins game as far as doubleheader. We are going to see somebody goofy pitching on the mound. It's 12-0. And it's going to be like Connor Joe pitching in the 9th. They're like guaranteed. Like you basically have to run out. You got to save that pen as much as possible for the back half, the doubleheader. We're going to see something fun. The Marlins are going to be, I imagine. I don't know why they would throw out like a real pitcher when you're up, down 12 runs in the 9th inning, but could be some good times. That's one of my favorite things in baseball. I love watching non-pitchers pitch. Is that just me? Do you enjoy that? It's just me.
Not particular. I mean, I think it's interesting to see them go out there and try, because some of them probably were pitchers like back in the day, and they've gotten away from it. So of course they don't have the pitch speed anymore. They play another position. Like, Andrelton Simmons was out there throwing 40-mile-per-hour fastballs the other night. And the guy swung and missed.
Well, they're not used to that, man.
Gosh.
I was watching a game where Cliff Floyd was calling it, and he was talking about how he was talking to Alex Verdugo, and he said Alex Verdugo is 100% serious about trying to be a pitcher next season, like trying to pull an Ohtani. Apparently he threw in the 90s, like I don't know, in high school or college. So we'll stay tuned on that. Maybe we'll see that happening next season. Verdugo apparently can throw the baseball pretty good, and we'll see if that works out for him. So tonight, speaking of pitchers that are throwing baseballs, Robbie Ray, the full Robbie Ray experience. We mentioned before the ballpark's not great necessarily for pitching because it's hot. It's got the fire emoji, but Baltimore also has to hit the ball, and they're not very good, especially against lefties. Not a lot of power in that lineup. If you pull up the plate IQ there, Will, as far as Baltimore this season versus left-handers, and I believe I'm doing it on the fly, it's all red. Like it's all red with the exception of Mateo's got a little bit of power. Batting 9th, and maybe Ray gives up a homer. He will give up some fly balls. So sure, that's possible. He's also cheaper than Torres, and Torres right now still is dealing with a 14-0 Marlins. He's dealing with potential weather issues as well. So I think it kind of clears the way for Ray to be the obvious one. Skubal is we'll talk about him as well, knocking on the door as the pivot away from both those guys, I think. No Buxton also makes Skubal even more appealing. And Buxton, I know he's been slumping, but still one of the better hitters in all of baseball, one of the best players in Minnesota, if not the best player in Minnesota. For me, that's a bump up to a guy like Skubal, who's on the way up as far as his trajectory. But yeah, talking about Robbie Ray, because like in theory, you're not supposed to love Robbie Ray chalk because he can be volatile. You know, you never really know how many Ks he's going to get, how many walks. He can just lose the strike zone on occasion. That does happen. 38% projected ownership right now in Ray. And if something goofy happens with Cortez, that's going to spike even higher. On FanDuel for Ray, it's going to be, 31%. So, yeah, are we embracing the Robbie Ray chalk?
I think the strikeouts will be there. I also don't think Robbie Ray gets through this game unscathed. I definitely think Robbie Ray is going to walk 3 guys, right? And so the question is, after he walks those 3, how many are on base prior to the walk? And then who's coming up after the walk? And those are all simple things, right? Like, should he dominate Baltimore? Absolutely. Will Robbie Ray have some walks? Most likely. He only had 1 against Oakland, 2 against Boston, 3 against the Mets, 2 against Philly, 1 against Tampa Bay, 4 against Miami. And we're getting back closer to where he was kind of just kicking off the season. And the K's weren't completely there. So I'm not really too worried because he's probably rounding into form now, right? Just based on, where we're heading. But I think Ray is for sure a good play. I think the problem is under him, who are you going to play? That maybe has the leash, has the stuff to get there. And that's the issue. There's no one else. So you'd have to take a Tariq Skubal, as you kind of mentioned him. You'd have to take a Tariq Skubal against a Minnesota team that's going to strike out but has, let's say, better quality bats overall. And then especially like you talked about, if Cortez is out of the picture, like, forget it. We're done. Now, I wish Michael Kopech was, kind of there. Like, I would play him against Toronto, but I don't think he's a better player than Robbie Ray. So he just, he won't make it today. So, yeah, it's hard to get away from Robbie Ray on FanDuel for what it's worth at 9,700, especially if Cortez isn't playing, which I think that game's actually going to go. I hope it does anyway. And I think your next best option is Skubal. So my rankings would be Cortez, Ray, Skubal. And then if Cortez is done, then it's Ray, Skubal.
Yeah, and by the way, it's worth circling back. I'm not trying to get people paranoid about that. And Roth is going to come on and listen to him when it comes to weather. And then you make your own, what is your risk tolerance, essentially, when considering rostering Cortez, when you have all the information. But as we stand right now, like, if they go, there looks to be like a 90-minute window, which, that's fine for pitching for me. Like, he's not going to go the entire game anyway. So I'd be willing to take my shot, take my chances, I suppose. I wouldn't be freaked out if they go. And again, we'll wait and see what Roth has to say to get more clarity. Skubal, it's kind of expensive. He's the second most expensive guy on FanDuel, $300 cheaper than Cortez. Again, Ray is 9.7. That's probably one of the reasons why, Ray is the cheapest amongst those 3. So he stands out because he certainly could be the raw points guy as well. But this, Ober's got a good matchup against Detroit as well. No Baez, which I don't know if that's good or bad because you like him for his Ks, obviously. Skubal this season, Gary Sanchez batting in the 2-hole tonight, which is kind of sort of like a Baez situation. He's got a lot of power, but he also will strike out a ton, 40% this year in a 40-plate sample size against lefties. You like seeing that. Interesting, Miranda is yet to strike out versus a lefty this year, 0% in 24 plate appearances.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised on that. Rookies sometimes tend to strike out a good bit. And he hasn't been like great as far as results, Miranda, but good looking prospect there in Minnesota. But there are some Ks up and down in that lineup in Gordon and Jeffers, Garlick leading off as well. So, plenty of Ks for Skubal this season. Good bit of Ks, 27%. The walks are awesome at 4.4%. The ground balls are awesome at 48%. The fly balls have been subdued, less than 30%. I'm in on Skubal as a pivot away from. And then, you said there's nothing left and nothing to feel great about. Sure. By the way, Robbie Ray, and I think this does matter a little bit. You tell me if it does or doesn't. Robbie Ray's got an extreme pitcher's umpire. He's one of those guys that like, I want the corners. I need the corners. Give me an inch off too.
Can we just get Kyle Wright back out here? I don't think he's coming.
I don't think he is. I mean, I hope for you. I got him on my DFS team too, so that'd be nice, I suppose.
I just don't want to see Kyle Wright. So, like, just let him go this time, Brian. I don't think he's coming back though. For what it's worth, I don't think he's coming back.
He's coming. Yeah, it's going to be Peralta leading off. That's right versus left. They're probably they might come out with a lefty. Who knows? Is Verlander still going? Verlander's still going. 79 pitches. Oh, Verlander's throwing a no-hitter in the bottom of the 7th.
Oh, yeah. Verlander's cruising. Kyle Wright is back out. Oh, my gosh.
Here we go.
Oh, please. Just get this strikeout right now. Like, do not. Listen.
He's got
this
one or two
amazing.
tops. That's I don't know why they're bringing him
out.
Okay.
Wait. He's out. Okay, so David Peralta flied out. So they're going to let him go, right? They're not going to. Huh?
They'll give him another hitter.
Yeah. He flied out, and now we're getting Pavin Smith. Come on, man. Folks, listen. Oh, this might be, if he gets this K here, very exciting stuff is going to be happening.
Life is about expectations, and for a while there, you thought it was over. Now you have a chance.
Oh, man. Well, here we go. This is it. Like, this is it.
Should I ask you questions about pitchers right now, or what percent of your?
No. Don't ask me. Don't ask me right now. This is important. We need this K here. Like, we need a K.
I can go on a little rant about the other.
Yeah, please. And I work with me here, people. Work with me here. We've got to get a K. I mean, wow. I'm actually shocked he's out there. So part of what you're seeing is shocked because he hasn't really passed 92 pitches.
Oh boy,
hardly ever. Okay, we got 2 outs, so they're going to let him go, right? Here's what I think happened.
This is his last.
I think they saw old man. Who was pitching today over on the other side?
Mad Bum.
Yeah, they saw old man Mad Bum go 103 pitches, and they said, "We're not going to let our young stud go out like that. Like let's let him get a quality start here now, right? Please. The prop shop is begging you here.
What's going on with the props? Should I check?
We're asking.
Are they jumping around and getting all excited?
Hey, we're asking if you can just K Mr. Thomas. K Mr. Thomas here. Make sure you get a K for us.
Oh,
and look, if he gets this K,
I see the chat says inning.
I didn't see. Well, see, they're ahead.
Yeah.
So no K. So now let me talk about this. And so prop shop, you guys know how I feel about this. This is why sometimes I prefer to take the fantasy points. Because had we taken the fantasy points, he'd be at 37 fantasy points currently, well over the 33 and a half line that he had. Because he didn't give up any runs, he's not coming back out. And man, I mean that. I hate it when you get it right, but you get it wrong. You know what I mean?
I do, but I'm just laughing at the comment from Hoosiers hang banners. Chiefs should play New Kids on the Block. I know what NKOTB means, the right stuff for karma, which is just what a dated reference. How old is Hoosiers?
I mean, this is a heartbreaker. I mean, you build me up just to let me down.
That's a song too, I believe, isn't it? About the Buttercup?
God.
All right, back to this. By the way, we have Esteban, our resident DoorDash expert, was like, he was calling false dong. He said Thomas Dong. That did not happen, right? I don't believe so. No,
I don't know. Just
no false dongs.
That was a dagger for the day.
I'm sorry. Well, let's try to like pivot back to the slate going down. Whenever things there's another slate. There's more.
Well, yeah. Listen, the prop shop knows how I do things. I don't hinge on it. I do need like my first couple minutes though to just say.
I hear you.
Because he was like my play of the day. So you get your play of the day. I'm all in. I don't play around. Like I'm all in. So it looks like, let's see. That'll have to be possibly a 2x. This one will have to possibly be a 2x.
So let's run down the rest of the pitchers. At least I'm going to run.
Let's not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. let's run down the rest of the pitchers.
Do you drink, Will? Is there a drink? I don't know. Is that something you dabble in the spirits? Is that something available for you, or is that what's going to calm you down?
No. I don't drink.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'll give you a minute. Feel free.
No dos Equis aquí.
All right. So on the slate, it's Ray, it's Cortez. I think Screwball's a really good play. Our projections very much like Jeffrey Springs. Jeffrey Springs has been awesome. He's been very, very good. The tricky part with him is his leash isn't very long.
I think he's going over 78.5 pitches if you're on PrizePicks.
Yeah, I do like that they have that up there because I think just betting, even Gausman I think went over his total yesterday. I was kind of looking at it. I didn't fire, but he wasn't great, but he labored through like 5 innings and like 98 pitches or 99. I think his number was like 94, 95. I like the idea of betting. It's just such a weird thing to bet on, but I like it.
It's amazing.
And I mean, you can use, Carty obviously has like the floor numbers, and he's got Springs projected for 80 pitches for what it's worth. And he's been really, really good this year so far. The Ks are solid, 26.8%. Just been a good pitcher in this Texas team is not necessarily one I fear. And you got a reasonable price too if you want to do cost per pitch, that kind of thing. You're getting a discount on him as well. So I like him a good bit as a pivot. I think Whitlock is an interesting pivot. I think the most interesting, ambitious, goofiest thing you can do in tournaments is play Hunter Green. He might have a -10, but if you want to do a Ricky Bobby style, I don't think Hunter Green is really crazy.
I get it. I totally get it. Let's see. Hunter Green's another one. He was on my list for possible walks today as well.
He gives up too many homers. He walks too many guys.
The line is set at 2 on PrizePicks. And I'm not trying to make some PrizePicks show, Dean. I just, let's see. The line was set at 2.
I'm curious what Carty has him projected for as far as walks, because I would guess it's a little bit above that, maybe. 1.91. So, okay.
Yeah, either way. I mean, that's what the line was set at. So, and Robbie Ray is set at 1.5. Trevor Rogers is set at 1.5 in Colorado. So I don't hate that either. But anyway, these other pitchers, I'm with you. I think I wish Bailey Ober was a little bit cheaper on DK. Like just a tad.
I wish he was a little better. It's kind of my problem with Bailey Ober.
The problem is he's facing a lineup that's not good either. That's true. We've just seen people go out and mow down Detroit that shouldn't be mowing down any teams. So, but the other problem is Bailey Ober doesn't have a long leash, and that's my issue. If I knew he could get through 6, I'd be very intrigued to run him out there like as a secondary kind of not, nobody's on him today, but he doesn't have that.
By the way, we mushed Verlander. Walk, strikeout, double, homer. A's are up 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th. So, sorry about that, Justin. That's a bummer. 14-0. Who is this? Estevez is it a real pitcher for Colorado? They got to bring out somebody goofy for the 9th. Right now, they have a real pitcher in the mound for what it's worth.
Hey, wait a minute. Yeah. I should have. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. I know you guys see me having all these revelations today. I am kicking my own self, Dean. Here's why. Here's why Kyle Wright went past the normal pitch count today. Extra innings, because Arizona was lighting us up last night, and we had to go extras. I should have known Kyle Wright was good. The pitch count was the play or the fantasy points. That was absolutely the play. Prop shop, I failed you on the strikeout prop, even though he had it. He should have gotten it. I failed you. The pitch count or the fantasy points prop was better today. And that's another thing, Dean. If you watch us, like for instance, with the Mets, they've been hammering Washington, right? I mean, hammering Washington for the past 3 days. Now, they didn't really do it today, but they had to call up a kid from Double-A to pitch. And he did okay. Like the Mets only scored, I think, 3 or 4 runs the last.
There were some weird bloopers too in that game. If you saw some, Soto did a terrible job in the outfield on one play. The Mets got lucky. basically.
Yeah. So my point is that's something that you can use to your advantage in prop play, right? If a bullpen's getting hammered, you got to expect that when they have a real starter like Corbin probably should have been gone in like the fourth inning yesterday or whatever day that was. But because the bullpen had been wrecked, they had to let him continue to pitch. They couldn't afford to pull him at 80 pitches, even 85, even though he was doing terrible. They had to let him stay so they can conserve the bullpen arm. Look out for that. And that's something you can use to your advantage for DFS as well. And not with a good pitcher, but like not with a bad pitcher, but let's say you're good pitchers. As an example, let's say the Houston Astros bullpen got really worked last night, right? Then what you say, okay, well, Verlander's pitching tomorrow, where they may pull him at 88 pitches in the sixth. Oh, he's coming back out for the seventh. So now we're going to get a little extra work from Verlander today. And so those are things you can use to your advantage. Just a little bit of strategy there for the day. Anyway, Dean, I think we've done a pretty good job with the pitchers. I think everybody knows where we're going. So
well, I think there's a couple we got to mention as far as cheapies, because I think John Gray didn't work out last time when he was kind of the chalk SP2 on DK, but now he's facing a Tampa team that is without
have him over 16 and a half outs.
16 and a half outs. So we're talking he's got to go 5 2/3. Is my UCF math correct?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you're hoping for. Tampa without Wander Franco, that lineup takes a pretty big.
Oh yeah, no Wander Franco is huge because now you don't have him bothering you at the top of the order in like the 2-hole.
And they're also without Allow. Like their two best hitters basically are not in the lineup. He's been out for a while, but just kind of noticing, looking at the Tampa lineup, it's like, why is it even weaker? It's like, oh yeah, that's it. Both those guys. They are throwing some lefties at them. Not the best lefties in the world. G-Man Choi. They have Walls, who's a switch hitter. Phillips, switch hitter. Just a straight lefty. Bruhan at the bottom of the lineup, and the outlaw Kiermaier is leading off. Who's just he's got some speed. He's a good defensive player, but he's not necessarily spectacular. Dodgers lineup is out. Who is it missing? Okay, so no Will Smith. Betts, Freeman, Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Chris Taylor, Alberto, Barnes, Pilar, and Lux. I think Pilar is still searching for his first MLB hit this season. But yeah, how do you feel about Gray? Let me pull up our ownership stuff and see. I'm curious where the ownership's going to lie with that SB2. You can go double barrel if you want to. Pick two amongst the three that we were talking about before, as far as the elite options today with Ray and Scoopall and Cortez. But I think a lot of people are going to step down and have their SB2 to open things up, be either John Gray or Whitlock or possibly Springs. And ownership is telling us that Springs at 25% is the most popular of the cheapies, with Gray at 20%. They're essentially the same price. Do you have a preference amongst those two?
I'm probably going Springs.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Springs is getting more ownership than he's a little bit cheaper. The road pitcher there. I'm not really sure. I think that's a tough call to see what the field's going to do amongst Springs and Gray. Springs has been better. We'll give him that. And then
Gray's for sure got a longer leash. Like Gray for sure has a longer leash. Like that I'm not worried about. Like Gray's going to go 90 plus. But speaking of that, Gray is at 90 and a half pitches on PrizePicks today. Over, okay? He's
Carty's
probably going
95 for the record.
Yeah, 94, 95. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I just go ahead and take that over. In fact, I might go ahead and do a little 2-man of Springs and Gray over those pitch counts. But I think Springs has more strikeout ability, and that's really what I'm leaning on, Dean, when I'm choosing between those two. Now, Gray may have more strikeout ability today, given the situation, but Springs is at a 26.8% K rate right now and a 3.82 xFIP. Limited, but and then against lefties, he's not as high, but I think that'll normalize. Like he hasn't had a whole lot of plate appearances, so I'm not going to read too much into it just yet.
Yeah, I mentioned Green before. Like this season, 27.6% K is good, 11.8% walks, bad, over 50% fly balls, bad. His home runs per 9 this season is outrageous. Like outrageous. It's over 3.05, which is so absurd in 44 innings. Now he's been unlucky, homering the fly ball at 23.4%. So, load up on Boston in some stacks. And I also think we've seen him have ceiling games or close to ceiling games. He did throw that no-hitter or close to a no-hitter. They pulled him at some point. They might have had a no-hitter as a team, right? Is that what happened in Cincinnati earlier? I think that's what happened. Again, he's got some skills and nobody's playing it. So, and I don't think this Boston team has seen him. And he seems like a guy that's probably a little bit tricky to see first time around. He's not walking you or giving up a homer. Again, not a big number, but if you get to if you're MMEing, 10% is fine. I know that's the number people want to hear. Give me your final thoughts as far as the pitchers. I'm trying to see if anybody else in the chat wants us.
Well,
to talk.
like I said, I mean, I do think Robbie Ray is in play, but if the New York game is going to go, I'm going to side with Nestor Cortez on both sites. His ownership's a little bit lower than Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray is probably safer given the weather concerns. But once again, I would say Cortez Ray Screwball would be the way I would go on FanDuel. On DK, once again, I think I'd still roll with Cortez Ray Screwball, especially with the slight discount on Ray from Screwball on DK. But then when we're getting into our second guy, so I don't think we can play them both. I do think Springs and Gray are in play. And then as we move up the ladder here, even though he's wild, I think I would side with Hunter Green over any of these other guys like Ober, Quintana, Detmers, Kopech. Definitely would side with them there. And although I do think Kopech has a shot, I think Kopech can have a good game here. I don't trust him against Toronto currently. I need him to have a little bit more strikeouts still.
Yeah, the other tricky part with him is that, he's thrown 90 pitches the last 3 games. So they've extended him more, and pitch count's not too much of a thing anymore with him. We do have him projected. Well, Carty's got him for 78, which I think feels a little low to me, unless I'm missing something. Yeah, and I don't mind Whitlock either. I'm curious what's Carty have for him as his projected pitch counts. This is all in the bag. Get DerekCarty's the bat. He'll be on later, actually, to talk about this stuff as well. As well as Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood, 2-time millionaire winner. You got chief meteorologist Kevin Roth as well, going to tell you what's going on weather-wise. And I'm sure people are going to want to hear that, especially what's going on in New York. We do have an update on the site on the free article. And, he kind of discusses that. We discussed it earlier. Orange yellow was the last color we saw. Whitlock, as far as the pitches he's thrown of late, 84, 71, 80, 82. So, good matchup, obviously, against Cincinnati. Kind of a putrid offense. Tommy Pham was scratched once again today, which feels like it keeps happening. They put him in the lineup and they scratch him. This Cincinnati lineup strikes out 26.4% versus righties this season, and Whitlock has a 27.3% K rate. That's I like that second tier. He's definitely in the mix for me. I'm happy to land there. So be it. That's how it works out. Your favorite stacks today, Will. You have a team that kind of rises above the rest. I know you kind of talked about it before, but we're already 50 minutes in and people are jumping in and out the show. They got things to do. So feel free to repeat yourself as far as stacks and just in general, your favorite stacks on the slate tonight.
Yeah, if we get weather clearance, I am going to side with the Yankees today. I still think Seattle's an amazing stack, but I'm trying to get a little bit different. Yankees only have ownership really on Judge. Outside of that, they don't really have much. So I like the Yankees. I don't hate the Chicago White Sox today against Hyunjin Ryu. I don't hate it. We've got this other game here with Milwaukee and the Cubs. And look, Kyle Hendricks, I've been picking on Kyle Hendricks since last season. No need to start now. Absolutely love Milwaukee here as well, even though it's a little bit cooler. Those are kind of some of my primary stats. Of course, the Dodgers against Quintana are in play as well, but those are my favorites. So if I had to rank them, it would be Yankees. It would then be Milwaukee and then Chicago White Sox. Those would be my personal rankings.
We did get Luis Robert back in the White Sox lineup today. That's why it looks better. They're still without no Moncada. Of course, Eloy's not there. Pollock leading off. Andrew Vaughn's got plenty of power. A platoon advantage as well. Abreu, Robert, Berger, Garcia, Engel, McGuire, and Mendick. I don't know what to do with that Milwaukee-Chicago game because the park looks really bad for hitting wise. And I don't love these offenses, but this Jason Alexander character doesn't look very good. And Hendricks, like you said, not very. I think Alexander's making his debut at like 28, that's a red flag. In MLB, you make your debut pitching at 28 years old. And then Hendricks just has been bad now for a while. Used to be somebody who was
he
like,
really has though, D. He's been awful.
Yeah, it's not been good. It's the Cubs in general, man. What a disaster. I do like that Christopher Morel. I don't know how good he is, but he's just like fun to watch. Like I was watching the game yesterday. He was having a blast, and I like that. That the players are having a good time. It's a game after all, right? They should be having some fun out there.
Yeah, it is a game after all for sure.
Do you want to go around the horn and give our favorite plays at each position?
Sure. Why not?
I mean, if you said no there, I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? You want to play rock, paper, scissors? I don't know what the alternative is. But, let's talk about our favorite plays. Start at catcher, of course, on FanDuel. They don't force you to roster one. On DK, you must roster yourself a catcher. We did lose Will Smith. Do we have every single lineup? Oh, I love. Yeah, it's a sprint slate tonight. I love that, Will. There's no games that start after 8:10, so it's like a 4-hour slate. It's a sprint slate. I enjoy that, and we have all the lineups too, which is pretty nice. Take note, NBA. Catcher, who do you like?
I mean, I've got it pulled up here, Dina. So first off, which I don't want to pick on this guy, but I do feel like Kirk from Toronto, just 3,500 batting in the 5 spot. I think it's just good value, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about him. As you get down to some of these guys that are at the bottom of the lineup, if you like Tucker Barnhart at 2,100, like if you're trying to get cheap guys, I don't hate that. You've got Omar Narvaez, who's probably close to like the top of my list at 3,300. Those are kind of some of my favorites. Like I don't really have to sell you on Wilson Contreras or Sanchez or these are kind of the guys that are the big names. But I do really like Narvaez, Kirk, and if you want to go really cheap, Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, Sanchez kind of a double-edged sword thing because I like the fact that he's jumping up in the 2 spot, grabs himself, a better chance at getting that 5th at bat, almost definitely getting a 4th at bat. If he's not, that means Skuball's basically throwing a no-hitter. But also he's facing Skubal, which he's probably faces Skubal 3 times, and I think he's good. So I don't know. It's almost like I'd rather have him hitting lower so he doesn't get Skubal the 3rd time around, if that makes sense, or less chance of that happening. But nonetheless, just sort of acknowledging his existence. We know about Mitch Garver historically, how he wallops left-handers. We do like Springs, though. At least I like Springs, but I'm okay with Garver at 4K. Long story short, it's not great. Like, it's just not great. I don't see a lot that's very appealing. And when I'm considering price as well, who's like the best? Yeah, I feel like I'm a day late at Alejandro Kirk. He's a honorary member of Team Girth, Husky fella. I don't necessarily want to pick on Kopech, but sure, 3.5K, like you said, it's a fine price. Nothing's great though. That's kind of where I'm at. Whatever, that's not really analysis, but like I'm not going out of my way. If the weather was the same as it was yesterday as it is today, then I would spend up on Contreras happily, but it's not. So I'm probably not. That's kind of where I'm at. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Let's jump over and if you guys are in chat and like there's somebody you want us to talk about, now's the time to fire it off. And especially if it comes up organically, like if you're mentioning a first baseman right now, it's like, well, now's a good time to say, hey, I wonder about this first baseman, because it just kind of comes up organically in the conversation. I saw some like this guy or that guy earlier and I just missed it. And it was like some hitters and it's like, well, can't just halt the show completely. Happy to answer questions as much as possible. Do hit that like button, hit subscribe as well. Turn on those notifications, half hour or so, maybe even less. You get Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, you get Dave Potts, and you get DerekCarty as well. First base, who are your preferences this evening?
Let's see, Dean. Let's see what we can put together for the fan. Of course, I already know this.
But Randall Grichuk is pitching. I told you we're going to get some goofiness. And he got Jorge Soler to ground out. Come on, man.
There it is.
Abasayo's got to go yard. I got him. He's on my team in the early slates. Let's go, Abasayo. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm going lefty here with Rizzo. I'm also going lefty with Freeman. I feel like those are guys that, people probably aren't going to be as interested in. Ty France, of course, is probably going to jump off the page today because he's part of that Seattle stack. Even though Robbie Ray is on the mound today, Dean, and I love Robbie Ray, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love Robbie Ray. What I will say is one of these guys is going to take Robbie Ray deep. And if I had to guess, right, because basically what I do, Dean, I hop in lineup HQ. I look at who's got the best hitting profile. If I had to guess today who was taking Robbie Ray deep, it's probably Trey Mancini. Or Ryan Mountcastle. Mountcastle sitting at a 333 ISO, 82% contact rate, 53% hard hit rate. And then Mancini, 53% hard hit rate, 467 ISO, 787 WOBA. Mountcastle at a 542. And Mancini has a 90% contact rate. If I had to guess, one of those guys is going to take him deep today. So that's, that's where I'm planning. That's where I'm planting my flag. But those are just kind of secondary guys. Also, Dean, you need to clean your glasses. Your screen is a bit blurry.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We couldn't see that well. Man, I mean, yeah. So there you have it.
Are we better now?
No, not at all. But that's okay.
Okay. I'll actually clean my screen. I thought the old white balance will work, but I guess that's not working for us. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Dean's got a screen cleaner live, ladies and gentlemen. That's getting better, Dean. That's getting better.
By the way, Randall Grichuk, 1-2-3 inning. Soler ground out. Abasel Garcia ground out. And no Jesus Sanchez, pinch hitter, La Tortuga. Williams Estudio popped out. Good Lord. So that was supposed to be fun, and it was not fun. First baseman for me. Let's see. But I do agree, like Baltimore, Ray very well can get up a homer, and the conditions are good for homers as well. We talked about the heat, the fire emoji, just that Baltimore team just lacks overall power. And I also see, I'll get to Eric's question in a second. Is Dahlbeck good? I mean, he's not good at batting average, but he's got a ton of power. And he when he hits it, he gets a hold of it, he hits homers. And he's facing a pitcher that gives up 3 homers per 9 so far in his short career. So, of course, you could play Bobby Dahlbeck. He's also hitting in the 9 hole at home. And if Boston wins this game 4-2, there's no 9th inning, he's only getting 3 at-bats. He's not getting that 4th at-bat. He's not getting that 5th at-bat. But, you only need 1 to justify the roster spot. I'm good picking on Hyun-Jin Ryu with Abreu. I like the Mariners a good bit, so Ty France is on my page, and we've seen Kyle Bradish in his short career be super reverse splitsy. So, I'm fine throwing lefties at him as well because we don't really know what he is just yet. But what he's shown, Bradish has been annihilated, pummeled, whatever adjective you want to use against right-handers. So Ty France is certainly interesting. And Winker is super cheap leading off the lefty versus the righty. And basically the point I'm saying, I'm not running away from that either. Anything else of note as far as first baseman that I kind of sort of had? Freeman, you can always play Freeman. I wouldn't run away from Quintana left on left. I'm more likely to play him in a stack, though. That's kind of where I would be on that. Probably wouldn't a la carte him. Anything else of notes as far as first, or shall we jump to – did you want to give your thoughts on Dahlbeck, or is it kind of the same as mine? It's of course you can play him, but, he's very well might get a 0, but he certainly can homer twice and go 2 for 2.
Yeah, of course you can play him. Those are my thoughts.
Second base, keystone position.
D. Sorry, guys.
Are you yawning?
Rowdy Tellez, man. I don't know how I didn't mention Rowdy, but Rowdy's up there. He's up there. Okay, second base. Let's get there. I wish my boy Colton Wong would just get on base tonight. That's all I need him to do. If he gets on base, a steal is occurring, Dean. A steal is occurring. So I like Colton Wong tonight. I think he's a really good value for second base at 3,900. Trevor Story, I think, is the second baseman play du jour, because if Hunter Green's going to give up a dong to anyone, man, is it going to be Trevor Story? I mean, overall, he's been playing pretty well on the offensive side of the ball, so I like him a lot. Gavin Lux, if he's in the lineup, I don't hate him against Quintana. I know it's lefty, don't care about that either. If you kind of go into some of these cheap guys, you've got Lurie Garcia at 2,700. I don't care about the lefty-lefty matchup. What we're trying to do now is just get some value. You also have God, what's the cheap guy? Is it Espinal? Yes, Espinal leading off against Kopech at 3,500. That would be my other one.
Hey, you probably weren't watching the show yesterday. Maybe you were. I don't know. Do you know who Patty the Tooth is?
You said Patty the Tooth? Oh, Patrick Wisdom.
Oh, well, wait. You're saying you've heard that before, or you were watching the show?
I was not watching the show, actually.
Context clues, you just kind of piece it together. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
No, what about, who Patty, you know who the Brain is? Patrick the Brain Wisdom?
Are you... For a second, I thought you were going Pinky in the Brains. Excuse me. No. Patty. And so what he should do is call him Patty in the Brain. Dean, Patty in the Brain is better than the Tooth.
Yes.
Patty in the Brain. That's way better.
Yesterday we got into this whole argument, the whole debate of Chop was making a nickname up for Wisdom, and he called him the Tooth. And we were saying that he just made it up out of nowhere. I'm like, why not just call him the Brain? Because the same pun as far as Wisdom. Were you a Pinky in the Brain guy back in the day?
I mean, yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it came back. I think Animaniacs made a comeback.
Pinky and the Brain. Pinky and the Brain.
Aren't they a part of that?
One is a genius, the other's insane. Yeah.
Kirkwood and Chad is very upset, by the way. Kirkwood's got to stand for Chop, apparently. I don't know how he's tied to this Patty the Tooth thing, but he'll be on soon enough. I think on Friday, we're expecting Chop was touting a big show on Friday with Kirkwood, myself, and Chop. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Anything else as far as second? I mentioned Morel. He's got a speed and power combination. I hate the ballpark today, but he's pretty cheap, and this Jason Alexander character is for the birds. So I'm okay with him as well. Don't mind the mouthwash either. Speaking of nicknames, Jonathan Scope against Bailey Ober, who's just
Jonathan Scope, the mouthwash. Johnny Lasagna, though, Dean. I'm telling you.
I was trying to think of another de facto potential Jonathan Scope nickname. Salt and Pepper, right? Was that were they Shoop? I think they were Shoop, right? I think so. That's not correct, of course, Shoop, because that's not
Johnny Lasagna.
Don't forget about Spinderella. Anything else at second base, or shall we talk about third?
Let's go to the hot corner.
Yeah, all right. Hot corner.
That is third base.
That is third base. Devers looks like an awesome play against Green. We've talked about Green's prowess to yield homers. It's a salary thing for me with Devers. I don't know if he's my one big spend, but certainly I'm not going to tell people not to play him. And there is Patrick the Brain, the Tooth. Wisdom against Alexander. He's playing some baseball tonight. He banged a homer out last night. Good for him. Justin Turner, I like him as a cheapie on Fanduel. He's basically 3K over there. The season has not been spectacular, but platoon advantage and just a nice little price on Fanduel at 3K. You got Rogers' kid playing baseball, Cody Clemens. Get excited about that.
If you're in the prop shop, I just dropped some combo builds because after I get off this show, I'm going to hang out with the fam. I got something to do, which is why you guys see me with the actual nice shirt on today.
What do you got going on?
Oh, just, we're just going out.
Oh, you going out to eat?
Maybe.
Am I prying too much now?
Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just going to hang out with fam, get something to eat, probably run to a store to something like that. So typically I have a date night on Friday. That's my typical date night, and we may still have it. But then we also had a meeting today at 7 or something. So we'll see. But listen, I like hanging out with the lady, man. It's a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the Charleston area, and that's right. I'm just getting nostalgic because I used to live there for a bit. So I was just thinking about Charleston for a second. Like maybe it was a place that I used to wander to when I left the house on occasion. Third base, some of your favorite plays. Have you knocked them out? We basically talked about third base. We're done with it. We're going to move on and talk about shortstop.
Correcto.
Who do you like as far as shortstops this evening? Again, if salary wasn't a thing, you're looking at guys like Xander Bogaerts. You're looking at guys like Trey Turner, platoon advantage against Jose Quintana. I believe not that we care about such things, but I think Trey Turner's got like a 22 or 23 game hitting streak going these days. I guess that's cool, right? When was the last time he did not have a hit?
I'm not sure.
Am I wrong in saying this? No, I'm pretty sure. I saw there's 2 guys that have like hitting streaks of at least 20 games. And I think, the bots are having themselves a good time. And I don't know if you're watching chat today, but there's, if you don't have any plans tonight, who has anybody ever clicked and oh yeah, I didn't even realize that was okay. Let's try it. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. So hopefully we're doing our best. Thank you to our producers, producer Steve, producer Devin on his birthday. Did people wish Devin happy birthday? Let people know that you appreciate Devin. Tell him on his Twitter, tell him in the chat. I think he said, and tell him your favorite vegetable too. That's important as well. But I think he said he's going to give away free premium to like one random person. So let's do that. Let's make that happen.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Devin's lurking. Even though you don't officially see him, he's not producing today. He's always here. So wish him happy birthday, and you might get yourself some RG premium as a nice thank you. What do you have as far as shortstop?
Yeah, so at shortstop, I mean, Trey Turner, of course, getting on that action. I'm just not feeling good about Xander today. But the problem is Green may walk him, and then he may come in, and then he get to hit the next time. And you look up, and Xander's got like 14 fantasy points just off of nothing. So I think if you're stacking Boston by any stretch of the imagination, you include him in there. You got J.P. Crawford, who I think a lot of people are going to play today for good reason against Bradish. I talked about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. If that game goes, I really like him today in this Yankees lineup. What's that other guy? Jesus, where'd he go? Oh, yes, Bo Bichette. I know you hear me talking about a few guys from Toronto. Don't hate Bo Bichette here. That's just a quality bet that you're getting in. Because he's a lot cheaper than some of the top tier guys, right? Like Bo Bichette, at some point this season, he's going to be over 5K. Today isn't that day. At 4,500, I'm willing to get involved at that price point. Those are jugadores. Yeah, jugadores para shortstop.
I've taken 4 years of Spanish. It's really, really rusty. What was the word you were throwing out there?
Players, jugadores.
Okay.
Jugadores. Yeah, players.
¿Qué tiempo hace? Let's see. We have as far as ownership, Trey Turner is 29% owned on DK. Bogart's at 23%. No surprise. A discounted Bichette. I don't necessarily love the matchup against Kopech. You mentioned him. He's 4.5K on DK, which just feels a little bit.
It's just a discount. Really. It's too cheap.
Chris is saying that you sounded like Big Papi a little bit. It was kind of like, is that what you're going with? I'm not sure.
I was not actually. I was not going for that. I wasn't thinking about Big Papi at all.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Kenan Thompson's SNL impression. You ever see Kenan Thompson do Big Papi? This is pretty good. You watch the SNL?
Oh, I haven't, but I mean, those guys from Saturday Night Live, yeah, they do a lot of good things.
He's been there for like 19 years. It's like
I think one of the most funny ones I've seen recently was the Stephen A. Smith Michael Irvin one. Like that one was pretty funny.
I don't think I saw Mike. I saw one that was cut for time. It was Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins and Chris Redd did Stephen A. Smith. That was pretty good. I didn't see the Michael Irvin one. Who did Michael Irvin? You remember? Or no?
I can't remember who did it.
Check it out. Yeah. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is like a parody in itself, so he's pretty easy to parody. Kirkwood says my favorite vegetable is mushroom. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Actually, mushroom probably would be my favorite vegetable. Mushroom, green beans, carrots. I think that's the podium. I'm pretty sure that's the podium. What do you think?
The podium.
Those are the top three. If we had a vegetable Olympics, they would be standing. A mushroom would be standing with the gold medal on top of the.
I'm going to disagree there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, feel free.
I think if you get the right, so I like a lot of vegetables. That street corn on the cob though.
Oh, corn's good too. Oh, I didn't mean the slight corn.
The street corn though, Dean. The corn with the cilantro and the flavors and the salt. Ooh, street corn is really good. I do like broccoli, of course. I like broccoli, but I like seasoned broccoli. If you're going to steam it, or I don't want to say steam. Let's go with a boiled broccoli that's right in between crunchy and soft. That's flavorful. I like that. And we're from the South, Dean, so collard greens are big in our area. I like black apple. I like a lot of vegetables. So, but I definitely think, in my opinion, street corn is at the top.
What is street corn as opposed to regular? What's the difference?
So it's corn on the cob.
Yeah.
It's going to be seasoned with probably some cumin, salt, pepper, cilantro. It's very flavorful.
Okay.
And then there's this sauce that's kind of also with it. Street corn is incredible.
Now, is this something that's sold on streets, or that's a term?
That's just a term.
Okay.
Go to your local Chili's and get your street corn, Dean. That's
not authentic street corn at Chili's.
But it will give you an idea, because you know what I'm saying? It'll give you a close enough idea for you to say, okay, I understand what you're saying. Plus, the corn on the cob at Chili's is actually really good. Even if you don't get the street corn version, it's actually really good.
I probably haven't been to a Chili's, I would say, at least 15, 20 years, I would say. Am I missing out?
Yeah.
All right.
You are.
Let's talk about some outfielders today. We're looking at our ownership stuff. No surprise, Judge, especially on DK, where he's 5.3K. You're getting a distinct difference in asking price off of Mookie Betts. Betts, on fire as well. That's actually 1-2 in the league as far as homers this year. I was looking at it earlier today. I believe Judge is at 18 and Betts, I want to say, is at 15. I think Betts hit 13 last month. It was like third or second as far as he was amongst the all-time Dodgers homers in a month, that kind of thing. Both are well positioned today. We talked about Winker as being a cheapie, leading off on the road against Bradish. Again, well positioned for those 5 ABs. We do have Frenchie Cordero leading off today, which is a surprise. So, he's going to be somewhat, usable, I suppose, especially part of that Boston stack, as well as JD Martinez. Pollock also leading off today for Chicago on the road. Your bets sucked last night. Well, all these guys suck on certain nights. And look, we shouldn't completely neglect the world's worst fantasy football commissioner, Mike Trout. We're not rostering him to commission our baseball league. We're rostering to hit baseballs, and he's really good at that. And he's going to be, I think, reasonably neglected when you compare him to such the likes of Betts and Judge. No Buxton, obviously, but I feel like those Angel studs are going to be just lost. And it's also leverage. The kids call that leverage, right? When you're rostering, players against what we're going to expect to be a heavily loaned pitcher for the Yankees, assuming the weather cooperates. Where are you at as far as the outfield?
Yeah, the outfield, man. I think everybody's going to probably be, once again, heading out to Seattle. Give me some interesting differentiators here. Give me Mike Trout and give me Ohtani. And I'm not going to play them together, but perhaps one of them hits a bomb, and I'm in on it. Give me JD as well. I definitely think Aaron Judge is going to be one of the highest owned outfielders there are today. I know we hate Christian Yelich. He's been so awful, but man, against Hendricks, I have to be in, Dean. I have to be in. Hendricks has been awful, so I like him a lot. Give me – I talked about Mancini, who we can get at first base and outfield. Like him a lot as well. Don't hate Austin Hayes against Ray. Jesse Winker's leading off at 3,800. Just, I talked about Santander. One of those guys is going to hit a home run from Ray, off of Ray. I like Santander as well. And then there's just a smorgasbord, Dean, a smorgasbord
what a good word.
of cheap guys that you can play. I talked about Andahar. I like Miguel Andahar a lot today. As long as that game goes, he's at 2,500, and I hope he kind of gets streaky because I've got a bunch of Miguel Andahar rookies that I need to get rid of ASAP. I've got a pile.
How many you got? 100?
Oh, man, you don't want to know. They're all in my case because I've got autographs and just refractors, all kinds of stuff on Andahar. I think he was going to have a big season, and then he got hurt again. And so I need these Andahars to fly off the shelf tonight. But yeah, so that's where I am with these guys.
I have if I can wander away for a second, and then I have like 100 of is it Randy Johnson? I was going maybe Sammy Sosa stuff. Here, give me 1 second. Go ahead and give the people some home runs. I'll be back in 20 seconds.
All right, home run calls for the night, and I think I did get my home run calls correct. the other night. But in terms of the Seattle game, yes, I do understand that Bradish is not good. Give me Eugenio Suarez all the way from Seattle with the Mariners in the Milwaukee game against Hendricks. I do understand that the weather's not going to be great there. Give me Rowdy Tellez. Love him today. And then in the White Sox game, I talked about liking that game as well. Going a little different here, Dean. And I should have talked about, I do like Jose Abreu with the White Sox today. But give me Luis Robert for the Chicago White Sox.
I was not going to the bathroom. I literally was going. I was going through my card collection the other day, and you mentioned some cards. You mentioned some sports cards and Andujar. I have like 1990 Bowman Randy Johnsons. Remember Randy Johnson, the big unit?
Yeah, come on, man.
A whole bunch of these, and then like literally, I have like 100 like 1990 scores. Sammy Sosa.
Oh boy,
like Sammy Sosa.
Are they in good shape?
Yeah, I mean, but it's 1990 score. Like, who wants 1990 score? Is that any value to it? I don't think. Not that I recall. Oh, one just got dinged. My bad. And I think this is Leaf, right? 1990 Leaf, a bunch of John Smoltz's, and then a random William the Refrigerator Perry rookie card, I believe. Is this 86 clear? I think. There you go.
Dean, get these cards graded, Dean.
The fridge is not,
guy. Huh?
Is the fridge worth it? I don't think it's worth anything, but it's fine. This is Jerry Rice's rookie year. I remember the coloring and the borders, but yeah, there you go. I will send him my. You were on the show with me the other day, right? Somebody was yelling at me about getting my Barry Sanders card. I think that was you. Was it not? Getting that graded?
Yeah, get the Barry graded for sure, D. Like, if you don't get anything else graded, get the Barry graded.
Eric says, "Yo, I'm stacking Pittsburgh tonight." I'm not stacking Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I push rhymes like wait.
Is that a confirmation or no?
Yeah, no, that's a throwback hip hop song, Dean.
Well, who sings it?
Oh man. Hold on.
Boy. Did I stump you?
Hold
I'm
on.
a musician.
Give me a second.
Well, maybe somebody on chat will help you out. I'm not really sure. They're going to be jumping. They're a few seconds behind, so you got a head start. Maybe it'll pop in for you. Maybe not. Who?
Ice Cube, man.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, that's way back.
I knew it wasn't who I was thinking about. That's why I was like, yeah. Let me hold on a second.
Do we feel like Texas is being overlooked? I feel like they're being properly looked. I'm okay with them a little bit. We're not expecting a ton of ownership. Simeon's been a disaster this season, basically all season long. Sean Dean in chats. There's several people now are saying it's Cube as well. Did we skip catcher? We did not skip catcher. We didn't really love anybody catcher. But speaking of Texas, I actually kind of like Garver. I'm more on Springs than Texas as a general thought. Is that kind of where you're at as well, Chief?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, the Crunch Time crew cannot be coming a moment too soon. We got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. We got Dave Potts. We got DerekCarty. They're coming on in. They got 8 games. I think they're taking it up to, what is it, 5 after or 10 after? So we got a few minutes to talk some nonsense if you all want to talk nonsense. Roth, I know the people have a weather report they're waiting for as well as far as the Yankees. Is it good news or is it bad news? What do we have, Roth?
I can't do it. I can't believe they haven't postponed the game. Like, honestly, they've postponed so many games for so much less this year that I'm kind of surprised that it's not postponed already.
Yeah, I was trying to read your article, the update on the fly while I was doing the show. And basically what I'm getting, and you feel free to correct me, is that they theoretically can get like 90 minutes in, but once there's 90 minutes in, then it's going to get dicey, and then it may be too dicey to even go from there. So maybe let's not even start this thing. Is that
and I'm not even as sold on the 90 minutes anymore. Like the more I look at it, I think we might be squishing that a little bit. I don't know. I'm surprised they haven't postponed it. It shows that they want to play clearly, but
if they don't delay it, if they don't postpone it and they do delay it, is that abort, get out?
Absolutely. If they say like, oh, we we'll figure it out. Or if they say anything other than we're playing right at start time, yeah, absolutely get out.
The window is going to get, it's just going to shrink as
To the window.
You all know.
That
We might
great.
get demonetized if we continue that lyric, I think.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't think you should play it in cash games and do in tournaments what you want. But if it was my money, I don't think I'd do it.
Dave, when are we getting the RG band together? Because Chief can play, I believe, the keys. Dave can play the guitar. He can sing.
I can actually play more than that, Dean. But
well, okay, I'm not here to slice
at one time. It's going to be live. So
Yeah, right.
What else can you play?
I play drums as well.
Okay, I play a mean triangle if that's available, or a maraca.
By the way, my man DC's in the building. Carty, what's up, man? I talked to Carty since like football season, so I don't know whether to give him a hug or cry.
Yeah, what's going on, Chief? It's been a while.
I'm good, man. I am good.
Oh, glad to hear it. Yeah. Blitz crew, 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
I once made an appearance on it when somebody was absent. I'm like the emergency call-up, like basically the backup quarterback, if you will.
Is it raining?
We're like 90 days out.
God.
Right? The NFL season's coming. It's around the corner. 90 days, give or take. Is that about right?
Is it really that close already?
I think.
Yeah, 90 something. I saw like a 100-day countdown a few days ago, so we're right there.
Is the blitz not ready to go?
Oh no, that's plenty of time, but it's creeping up.
Yeah.
Producer Devin, by the way, gave away some free premium to members in the YouTube chat. Hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications. And do you know how they got themselves free premium? It is Devin's birthday. Producer Devin's birthday. Everybody wish him happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Devin.
You had to say your favorite vegetable. I figured that was in honor of Devin. I think that kind of works. And is there a vegetable you want to stand for, Carty? I bet you have something like really off the board.
I like every vegetable. I think I'd probably go asparagus or Brussels sprouts. I feel like are maybe off the board. Brussels sprouts get a bad rap. I feel like most people don't like them.
Yeah,
that's not getting a bad rap. That's just people being honest.
Yeah, it's just that they suck.
You're not cooking them right then. If you think they suck, you're not eating them the right way.
They're fine.
Dave, you have you want to retort? You want to counter? You want to raise the Brussels sprouts?
I mean, we could just name an actual good vegetable, which there are lots.
Yeah.
How about green pepper?
Too spicy for me, but I understand it. I hear you.
You mean green bell pepper?
Yeah.
It's not spicy.
Green bell
peppers are not spicy, Dean.
Yeah.
I hear pepper and my palate's out.
There's literally zero spice in bell peppers, Dean.
Don't stop it, Dean. Green pepper is more for flavor, not for to elevate the spice.
It's not like the star of the dish. The green bell pepper, you mix it with carrots or onions or like something. Like, what are you making where like the bell pepper is like the thing?
Yeah, I mean, they sometimes they put that in like Philly cheesesteak.
86 the peppers for me. I'm out. That's just me. I mean, enjoy them. Have at it. Go for it.
Only people that went to UCF don't like green bell pepper.
Roth, you want to throw your favorite pepper out before you knock out the rest of the weather and we step aside and get out of here?
I'm not a veggie guy, which I'm gonna die at like 45. I don't eat my greens, so yeah, I'm not a veggie guy.
Just across the board, you cross out that entire food group.
Like
veggies.
Like you won't eat like a carrot or like nothing.
I will eat it. It's just, do I ever want to go out of my way to get this? Or like, no, I just want a sandwich or I want a steak and potato. I don't want broccoli or asparagus or any of them. I'm just like, why would I eat that when I could eat potatoes and a steak or a burger? I don't get it.
I have never eaten stuffed peppers. Jason in the chat saying, am I missing out on stuffed peppers? Is that good?
Stuffed peppers was the one thing I thought of where I'm like that's like where, but like the stuffed pepper, the star of the stuffed pepper is really the stuff that's in the pepper.
Right. The pepper's just a container in that capacity, an edible.
The pepper's container. Like the bread. Like the bread is not anyone's favorite part of the sandwich.
All right. Fair enough. Well, on that note, you guys can continue, but myself and Will, we're going to make some lineups for a step aside and get out of here. We hit our quota. We were here for an hour and a half. You guys are going to take it home. The Fanduel Crunch Time sponsored by Fanduel with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. You got DerekCarty. You got Dave Potts. You guys take it over. Enjoy.
Appreciate it as always, Dino. Happy to be joined by a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz. Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. We got to work together this morning, had a little crunch time, and here we are, late afternoon, early evening, doing it again. How are you, Cheese?
I'm doing all right. Quite honestly, I'm just sitting here kind of clicking through and removing a few Yankees, not necessarily all of them yet, but I'm lowering my Yankees exposure just on what you've said already.
I just can't do it. I just can't get on board in cash games with this play. Like, sure, they could play soaked. Sure, they could just play the game soaked, I guess. But man, they've postponed for so much less this year that I don't even know what the delay is there. We got DerekCarty as well. He is the creator, inventor, CFO, and CTO of the BatX Enterprises. What up, Carty?
What's up?
Oh, there it is. Throw up the X.
Wow.
How you doing, man? Are you hating on me because I don't think you should play this game in cash?
I mean, this is a good game, but like, I don't think it's so much better than everything else where like, if we lose this game, it's not the end of the world.
Well, I was not expecting you to say that. I absolutely thought this was going to be it. So that's good news.
No, like the top, like probably 3 teams today are all fairly interchangeable. Like, yeah, you want to get Judge in there if you can today. If you can't, it's not a big drop off.
Okay. Wow.
And that's where I'm at as I'm doing it. Like, I really like Judge and Torres in particular. But it's fine. I mean, it's not like, I don't feel like, oh, you can't win. Even if that game plays and does what it should do. Yeah. I don't feel like, oh, there's no chance now. So.
Yeah. Okay. That makes me feel a lot better about things. Of course, if you think that ownership is going to come down in this game because of the weather and you want to run some stacks out there, feel free, right?
Yeah. And at this, like, I don't know that I think the ownership does come down. And that's kind of why I'm thinking I want to get off it. Like, unless they delay it or say something ahead of time, I think we still see pretty good amount of traffic on the Yankees.
I would kind of think so too. Like, they're projected pretty high owned right now. Like, I don't know if people are going to be scared off.
Yeah. I mean, just as a general rule, I've seen, unless the team announces something, nobody really does anything. So I think you just avoid it in cash games and do what you want in tournaments. They're going to make me look like a jackass. They're going to play through soaked and there's going to be no delay and everyone's going to say, where's the delay? But it's just, I just don't like it. So that's where I'm at. But if you feel passionate that you want them, especially in tournaments, go for it. I do have to point out a big thanks to our wonderful sponsor, Fanduel. If you're watching on YouTube for free, it's because Fanduel is sponsoring the show. Don't forget to reserve your entries in the 150K Wednesday MLB Squeeze. It's $30K to first, $5.55 to enter. If you participated in the home run back-to-back bonus on Fanduel yesterday, and you got a home run out of one of those batters, you roster another home run hitter in this contest. It doesn't even have to be the same dude. It could be any home run hitter. You get a share of a $25K cash bonus. Also, FanDuel Sportsbook, new users get a new special bonus. You bet $5, you get $200 back in free bets, regardless of if your bet wins or loses. So some good stuff going on there at FanDuel. And did we give our boy Devin an official birthday shout out? We did, right?
E-Train.
And I love that guy. He is so good at his job. And yeah, everybody loves Devin. So happy birthday, Devin. With that, I'll keep monitoring New York. Maybe 15 minutes from now, I'll be like, hey, you know what? This rain's breaking up. They're going to play. If that happens, I'll let you know. But, and I think Boston looks fine. So with that, let's talk about this slate. Cheese, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, sure. I think let's just kind of go straight into pitcher, and then we'll go to stacks after that. And with pitcher, what I want to say is I find it honestly inspirational and just affirming to life as it exists when everything that I think exactly lines up so perfectly with the bat. Like, oh yeah, even though you guys know how I feel, like I don't always love the projections, and yet I would rather just be on the same page. Of course, the more the merrier. And when I looked at the slate, it was Okay, obviously Ray, Skubal, and Cortez are awesome, and I love all three. And I don't know how you separate them. Well, you don't. Apparently, they're all within like nothing. They're like a tie. It's crazy. I've never seen three pitchers so close, and that's perfect, and I love it. And then with that, so Ray's the cheapest of the three. Cortez is in the rain. Ray is the chalk, but I think it's just play. Assuming you need the money, just play Robbie Ray. And now I think just play Skubal instead of Cortez, and that's your two aces. There's a lot of ways to build with those two aces on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, the savings to Ray is a little more useful. So I think you play Ray and then go up to Skubal here and there to be different. And then even with the next group, it's pretty inspirational, other than I don't like Hyunjin Ryu. Mostly, I mean, it's partly skills, but he left his last start with elbow tightness. Like, that's a huge red flag. Yeah. He's probably fine, but I don't like him better anyway. So to me, just skip him.
That's also something that's not going to show up in a mean projection, where he's not going to throw 110 pitches in this game. Like, he could probably get up to 90 or 95 if they want him to, but he doesn't have that massive upside, even though the mean projection is good. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. If we're talking,
and what makes Ryu good is those innings, really. So, and so right around him, you got John Gray, you got Jeffrey Springs, you got Garrett Whitlock. And same as I feel like is how the bat feels. Like, those three are all pretty close. Bailey Ober is kind of there, but he's priced up kind of to no man's land. So for me, that's my whole pitcher pool. It's Ray and Skubal up top. I'm just not going to play Cortez now. Like, he would be there with Skubal, but I think why bother with it with that weather? And then if you need a cheaper pitcher, those guys are in play on FanDuel, like, except if you're not playing like Judge and Trout, you barely need the salary. So I think you can play a lot of Robbie Ray there. I will go Gray, Springs, Whitlock, but those three are also very interchangeable for me. And that's it. That's my pitcher pool.
Okay. Do you prefer one stud pitcher and one cheapie, or do you like going with the two of the three studs and, eliminating the guy in the rain?
Yeah. I mean, I prefer just Ray and Skubal, but it's actually not far off. Like, I'm completely happy with one stud and one of the cheap guys. If you want to do like get Betts and Trey Turner in there, which is something you do want to do. So I have probably about 40% of my lineups have two stud hitters, and 60% have one with one of the cheaper guys.
Gotcha. Okay, great.
And on FanDuel, I'll say probably about 60-ish %, 70% maybe on either Ray or Skubal, with a handful with one of the cheaper guys.
Okay, great. Carty, you want to walk us through your pitcher thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything Cheese said, because like he said, he agrees with everything the bat says. So we're in
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all just friends here.
Yeah, we are. It's a nice feeling sometimes. But yeah, Robbie Ray, on FanDuel, you take the discount, you play him. If you're gonna, try to split hairs, like, maybe he's slightly better than the other two, but he's cheaper anyway. So like, just play him on FanDuel. On DraftKings, play him. He's cheaper there also. I think in cash, like, I don't think you have to play Skubal with Ray in cash. You can if you want, but I'm fine playing John Gray as well, because you're saving like $4,000. And it's not like Skubal projects amazing. He projects good, but Gray projects pretty well too. And it's a big gap in salary. So I'm fine doing that. It does look like Gray in that kind of second tier is going to come in a little lower owned than Whitlock and Springs. So, again, I probably like him a little more for GPPs, but yeah, basically I'm in agreement with everything Cheese says. Ryu is tempting for me, because you look at the ownership, and like, all of these guys that we've talked about are all coming in at 20% plus owned. And Ryu projects at 3% ownership. And the projection is like the same as Gray and Whitlock and Springs and Ober. But like she said, did get pulled in his last start. We don't know 100% how healthy he is. He probably doesn't have the same leash as the other guys. Like, the upside might not be there. The really low ownership has me tempted, but I think you probably just don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. You want to talk some of the stacks for us, Carty?
Yeah. So The chalk stacks today kind of look like the best stacks. I do think there's a couple of really interesting ones that I like for Cheese's favorite reason, leverage. But like Boston, Dodgers, New York, and probably Seattle, it looks like you're going to be like the 4 chalkiest stacks, and they all project, really well, all more or less the same. Seattle's maybe a little below the other 3, but Boston, Dodgers, Yankees all look really good. The off the board ones that I like Tampa Bay and I like Baltimore. They project well enough, and you're going to get leverage off of chalky pitchers. Baltimore's against Robbie Ray, who's going to be the highest owned guy on the slate, and they project pretty well. Tampa Bay is against John Gray, who's going to be, somewhat popular, and they project well also. So I'm totally fine with this. Like, even though Robbie Ray is the top pitcher on the slate, highest owned, it's not like he's, fantastic. Like, he has been worse this year. He is still a guy who has a wide platoon split, can be exploited by righties, gives up a lot of stolen bases. So there's ways for Baltimore to get to him for sure. He's always had home run problems. So I like that as an off the board call.
Cheese?
Yeah, it's a small enough slate that you can make a case for pretty much everyone. The 2 teams that I particularly love outside of Dodgers and Red Sox, which are the obvious chalk, are the White Sox and the Blue Jays. The White Sox, for this reason that we're talking about with Ryu, like, I'm just elbow tightness. And I would kind of like them against him anyway because of the low strikeouts. Like, they've got a bunch of righties that hit the ball well against low strikeout lefties. And then I think you can play the Blue Jays because Kopech is one of those guys who, like, he's kind of like a young right-handed Robbie Ray. It's strikeouts, it's walks, it's fly balls. So I do like the middle of that Blue Jays lineup pretty well.
Okay. That leads us to go. Yeah. Let's get the one question in that we kind of like getting in here. If you're playing one lineup and you're trying to win a tournament, Cheese, what's your stack?
It's chalky, but it's the Dodgers.
Okay. Carty?
I think that's the easy answer, but I'd have no problem rolling out a Baltimore stack.
Okay. Good stuff. Let's go position by position. Cheese, you can start us off with a little catcher talk.
All right. Catcher is not great because we don't have Will Smith. We don't have Yasmani Grandal. I like the Blue Jays guys, Kirk and Jansen. I like Mitch Garver a little bit. But this is a position I don't mind punting and playing whatever you get. I did like Higashioka, but I don't know. He's in that Yankees game, so I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm playing Tucker Barnhart and Tyler Heineman because I think you just are fine with a 0 and maybe you get a couple of singles and score a run with your cheap catcher. So it's in a stack is basically all I'm doing at catcher today.
Okay. Yeah. So the tarp is still on in New York. I'm just had someone tweet that if they're not warming up right now, like I don't really see a viable means to them playing the game. I mean, it could rain there till 1 a.m. Like if they're not planning on playing through the light rain that starts, I don't like their chances of playing at all. So the fact that the tarp is still on right now seems like they're probably going to postpone the game.
I will just tell you, I'm removing whatever I had left of that game and just hoping they don't say anything before lock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't like its chances. The fact that the tarp is still on. Okay, Carty, you want to walk us through catcher?
Yeah, so I'm kind of with Cheese. There isn't like a priority spend up guy tonight. I like Mitch Garver quite a bit just because he's really good and he's still a little underpriced. I'm fine punting with one of the cheap guys. Even if you don't go all the way down to Heineman or Barnhart, you can go down to Cal Raleigh or Ryan Jeffers, and I think they're fine. I think Robinson Chirinos is fine, especially in GPPs. Like I mentioned, liking some of these Baltimore some of these Baltimore bats against Ray, like Robinson Chirinos is 2.3K. He has power. He's got the platoon advantage. Catcher sucks. I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with some of these Minnesota catchers, even just as one-offs with leverage over Skubal. Like Gary Sanchez is hitting second. He's got the platoon advantage against Skubal. There's really nobody good at catcher. He could run into a home run for sure, and he's going to be really low owned. And Jeffers is kind of the same thing at a lower price point.
Okay. Will you take us to first base, Carty? Or wherever we are. I don't know. I'm in weather mode.
First base. Yeah. So yeah, first base, it's kind of weird because I don't think there's like a high-end first baseman like you really have to have today. Like I'm fine kind of punting first base also. Like Freddie Freeman is fine. Like we like the Dodgers and your stack's great. Are you going to pay almost 6K on DraftKings for Freddie Freeman, lefty on lefty against a decent pitcher? Probably not. Ohtani with the rain, you're not playing him, and he's lefty also. Rizzo, rain, lefty also. Like Vlad's fine, and he's a little underpriced, but he's against Kopech. In tournaments, great. In cash, I don't know. Ty France, I think, is okay. Like I like some of these Seattle bats against Bradish. I think Michael Chavis is interesting at 3.5K. Over on FanDuel, Bobby Dalbec. I mean, we like the Boston a lot. We'll mention a bunch of these guys. Dalbec's 2.1K, so I like him. And Joey Votto is 2.5K. I think he's probably the guy I would gravitate towards on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he's fine too. He's 3.7. He's against Whitlock, who's really good. But Votto is also really good, and he's finally like showing signs of life. And I think he's just really underpriced for how good of a hitter he still is. And the park is good. And so, yeah, it's kind of a crappy position, honestly, but I like them. And then on DraftKings, I think Franchi Cordero is also in play. He's leading off for Boston. He's 3.1K. And so I like him and Ryan Mountcastle in GPPs against Robbie Ray.
Okay. Cheese first.
Yeah, he named pretty much everyone.
Like almost all the first basemen on the slate. Yeah.
Yeah. The two guys I like are in that game that I said I like. It's Guerrero and Abreu. And that's who I like. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Then let's go to second.
Really a lot of positions aren't great. So Torres was like the go-to guy. And I think that's in New York. I think you don't play him. Spending up to Story is now more interesting to me. Michael Chavis is fine. I mean, I'm even playing Jonathan Scope just because he's cheap. Like in Dodger stacks, you got a couple of Dodgers there. You've got a lot of sort of fine in stacks things. But as far as like a guy you just want to play because he's good, I mean, I guess it's Story and that's it.
Okay. Carty?
Yeah, it's a bad position, especially without Torres. I'll throw Marcus Semien into the mix. He's reasonably enough priced. He's 4-1 on DraftKings. He's got platoon advantage. He's leading off. But yeah, it's like some of these cheap, crappy Pirates guys like Michael Chavis, I think is really appealing. On FanDuel, Diego Castillo. On DraftKings, Josh Van Meter. Taylor Walls, I think on FanDuel is like it's really a bad position. Like I think you just kind of save money, especially if you're not playing Torres, and just kind of move on. Which we'll now do to third base because Roth is looking at weather, I think.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I have no idea what's going to be in any of my lineups, but it won't be Yankees
because you're scrambling right now.
I'm just
pulled all your Yankees and are just kind of like plugging in whatever.
Yeah. So third base, we finally do have like a clear top guy, and it's Rafael Devers, and I think he's going to be a priority guy in cash games on both sites. He's really, really good. The matchup is really good. Boston, them and the Dodgers, like we've said, are the top two offenses. So Devers is really good. Justin Turner in the Dodgers offense, I think is also quite good. If you're looking for homers, I think Eugenio Suarez against Bradish is a good bet. And that's kind of the three that I have the most interest in.
Okay. Cheese.
Yeah, Devers for sure is a great spend up, and Suarez as well. I like. I do, of course, like Justin Turner on FanDuel. He's a lot more fittable.
Yeah.
DK he's kind of an unnecessary spend.
You can play Turner and Devers on FanDuel because you have that usual spot.
And then I'm going to keep talking about this game. Jake Berger will hit a home run today, so I do not mind that.
Very nice.
The Iceman home run today.
Okay.
Carry on.
The Iceman home run call today?
Sure. I don't know.
There you go. You're 1 for 1 on it. So you gotta,
we'll go with the off the board Burger.
Okay. I like it. Shortstop, I believe. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Man, it's now like it would be really nice to just have a ton of money and pay the most expensive guy at each of these infield positions because Trey Turner is so far ahead of the field. You can't just go Story, Devers, Turner, but that would be great. Bichette and Bogarts are fine. JP Crawford is fine. The DK punts are a lot worse than those spend ups, but they're there. You play Diego Castillo or Luis Garcia or something. But ideally get up. And then on FanDuel, like you can get Trey Turner a little bit easier. But then with guys like JP Crawford at 3K and Bichette at 34, like I don't think you need to super punt on FanDuel.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like Turner's just the guy here. And that's part of the reason why I think it's fine to just like play a crappy second baseman or a crappy first baseman. Cause I think you just find a way in cash, at least get up to Devers, get up to Turner and don't worry about these positions because they're clearly above the rest of the field where at the other positions we've talked about so far, that's not true of anybody.
Okay. You want to take us to the outfield?
Sure. So Aaron Judge, we're just going to rule out, even though he would be a really great play. Mookie Betts is definitely the top option here because it's Dodgers, it's Mookie Betts. He's got the platoon advantage. He's really good. But he's also kind of pricey. Jesse Winker, I think on both sites is really appealing, really well priced. Seattle's kind of like that step below Boston and the Dodgers that does project well. So I like Winker. I like Julio Rodriguez in the same lineup. I think Brian Reynolds is interesting just because he's always kind of underpriced and underowned relative to his talent level because he plays on the Pirates and the Pirates aren't good, but Reynolds is really good. I think some of the cheaper Dodgers outfielders, especially on FanDuel, like Kevin Pillar, Chris Taylor, like I think they're very, very interesting. And on DraftKings, Nick Senzel is 2,500. He's leading off for the Reds. He's a pretty good hitter. He projects at 1% ownership, and I think he's a borderline cash play. So in GPPs, I certainly like him right there.
Cheese.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at Senzel too, and kind of like Carty's mentioned the Reds. I think they're viable for a lot of salary savers where you need them. I mean, he pretty much covered everything. It's a weird position if you're not playing that Yankees game. Is Judge and Trout and Ohtani. Leave Betts as kind of the very obvious chalky spend up, followed by JD Martinez. I do think like the ownership, if people are getting off this Yankees game, which I'm hoping they're not. Like right now, I feel like I hope no one says anything for the next 10 minutes. And I actually feel really good about it. So I'm playing a bunch of bets because of the Judge thing. And most of the values that Carty mentioned are who I'm looking. I think Winker will be the popular value. On FanDuel, I like Chris Taylor a good bit. And then Andrew Vaughn, the Maverick home run call of the day, of course, is a little too cheap.
Okay. Anything else we got to do or just take some QQs here?
I think we can take QQs.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's do it. Scrolling up just a wee bit here. We'll go to Desired. Says, say Carty, any interest in Vladdy for a little FanDuel cash?
I don't know if I do it in cash. I guess you can. I like Vlad. I'd probably rather save at first base, but Vlad's fine.
Okay. Cheese, FanDuel large field GPP. Do you prefer to mix in low-owned one-offs or low-owned stacks to get different, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Like you can do either or. So it depends on who the plays are. I guess in general, I want to play whatever the stack I want is. I guess I would say I would rather just play the stack I want and go that way.
Okay. Aside FanDuel Cash, 3v3 for you, Carty. Diego Castillo, Devers, and Pollock, or Chavis, Ginger Turner, and Chris Taylor.
Read that to me one more time.
Yep. Diego Castillo, Devers, and Pollock, or Chavis, Redhead Turner, and Chris Taylor.
It's probably the second one for me, although I do think you find a way to get Devers in there also.
Okay. NBA DFS says Cheese, FanDuel Cash in the util, Vato or Pollock?
It's a close one. I would go Pollock.
All right. Jay, DK single entry for you, Carty. Skubal and Springs with a Dodgers wraparound stack, or Springs Gray with a White Sox stack?
Skubal Springs with the Dodgers, or Springs Gray with White Sox.
Yep.
I think it's the first one for me. Skubal Springs Dodgers.
Okay. Geez, is there ever a day you don't love Andrew Vaughn?
Yeah, I really haven't talked about him that much this year.
I didn't even know he was a real person. I thought he was a guy from from the Wild Things movie.
Yeah, I really don't feel like I've been that crazy about Andrew Vaughn. I mean, I like him.
Yeah. I feel like it's the first time I've heard his name. I literally didn't know he was a player until just now. Okay. DK single entry, Carty, White Sox stack with Springs and Skubal, or is that too cute? It's a little different.
White Sox stack with Springs and Skubal.
Mm-hmm.
I know Cheese is more on the White Sox stack than I am. I can see it, but personally, I don't like it quite as much.
Okay. MP says, Duders, love the show as always. I want a home run pick of the day from each of you. Cheese, you've already given two. I feel like you gave Burgermeister and Vaughn, right?
Yeah, I'll stick with those.
I think that's good. But Carty, you've given nothing. You have given nothing to this show. Give
Unbelievable.
Me a home run pick.
I mean,
typical, really.
Yeah, I think your top guy is probably like Mookie or Devers, which isn't like anything surprising. Off the board stuff, I like Gary Sanchez for a home run. I think Eugenio Suarez too will be maybe a little overlooked, and both of those guys have elite chances of hitting a home run tonight.
Great. Okay. Achilles says Cheese, Springs or Gray, and DK Cash.
Very close. Again, I guess I would say Gray.
Okay. Beaner says Kirk or Contreras in a FanDuel GPP, Carty. We've got 7 minutes or so.
I'd play Contreras, I guess, of the two.
Achilles, DK Cash, punt catcher, Raleigh or Jeffers?
I mean, the bat thinks they're like the same. They project almost identically. I'd maybe lean Raleigh, but there's not a right answer.
Cheese, you care?
I would lean Raleigh too.
Great. Okay. Jay says, being that the Dodgers will be chalky, does using a one-off like Betts make sense? I will be stacking the White Sox. DK single entry. Cheese.
If you are stacking the White Sox, it's fine to play Betts.
Okay. Dan Jen says, I know you do the question of one stack to win a single entry, but what about the top stack to take down 150 max tournament to win 100K? So I don't know if this is the same question, or this is maybe if you want a stack that's a little more off the board.
Baltimore.
Cheese.
The White Sox.
Okay, great. DK single entry, GPP, Skubal or Robbie Ray, Carty?
Skubal is going to come in a little lower owned. They project almost the same. Go Skubal, I guess. Okay.
Beaner missed the answer to the question that he had earlier, which was Kirk or Contreras in a FanDuel GPP.
Contreras.
Okay. Where are we now? DKGPP Cheese. What are your thoughts on a brew crew stack?
Yeah, it's viable. I have one or two. I like Yelich and Tellez, and then at that point, if you end up with a stack, I think it's okay.
All right. FanDuel Cash, Carty, Diego Castillo and Abreu, or Chavez and Tyrone Taylor.
I don't really love Abreu or Taylor. I mean, you probably go with the Abreu side, but I don't love it.
I just don't know what they're doing in New York. I just don't know. Are they going to wait for 2 hours? But then there's more rain. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing, Cheese, and it's making me nervous that they haven't just postponed it.
Based on everything you've said, it doesn't sound like this game is playing. They might pretend like they're going to try to wait it out and then call it in a half hour or an hour or something.
I mean, I feel like they can always do whatever and decide to play in rain, but I feel like this is exactly why we have you. Like, this is a spot where if they don't say anything in the next 5 minutes, I think people are just playing Yankees as chalk. And there's at least a good enough chance the game doesn't happen that I think we've just gained an edge. Whether it gets realized tonight or not, I don't know. But this is why the Roth exists. There's lots of reasons you exist theoretically. But
Yankees broadcasters say rain delay. Yankees announcers say they will try to get the game in. So,
well, let them try.
Yeah, like I'm not saying they can't. It's gonna take a bit. It's gonna take a lot, really. All right, let's see. GPP one off Votto or Pollock.
Votto for me.
And to be clear, Dan Jan says almost certainly a PPD in New York. The fact that they haven't postponed it makes me think no. Like probably yes. Like probably. I still think they're going to end up postponing this, but almost certainly no. I can't say that because it's clear that they really want to. But it's going to take some effort. Is Connor Pilkington a real player or not? I'm going with no, because I only know a man named Fluffy Bear Pilkington, and I don't believe his first name is Connor.
Yeah, Fluffy Pilkington is definitely real. Like he actually struck out a bunch of batters today. It was stunning. And he got out of a couple jams. So good for him.
Yeah. But is his first name Connor?
With a K.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the K came into play today.
Hey, there you go. Nicely done. DKGPP, Cheese, what are your thoughts on Tellez Narvaez?
Narvaez, yeah. Yeah, I like Tellez a good bit. And that's one of those, catcher is so weak, I think you want to pair it with something. So I'm fine with Narvaez.
All right, there's the official delay. Cheese, what do you think, Votto or Pollock in a GPP one-off?
As much as I like the White Sox, Pollock is not really the one-off I would use. So I would go Votto there.
Okay. If Jake Berger hits a home run, you guys talk amongst yourselves for a bit. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, let's see. If Jake Berger hits one, let's achieve the cheeseburger. I don't eat cheeseburgers. Why would you put cheese on a perfectly good hamburger? I will eat a hamburger.
Yeah, Cheese does not believe that cheese actually tastes good, believe it or not.
Right.
Which
Cheese
is really strange.
Cheese is not good, as we all can confirm from watching this show.
You should change your name to Brussels sprouts are good, Cheese.
Do you put cheese on Brussels sprouts, I wonder?
You can.
Can you, though?
You can make a cheese sauce for a Brussels sprout. Absolutely.
I believe you. And I hope that works out.
Maybe you'd like them more with cheese on them. Or maybe you just...
Well, actually, that actually might be true. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, we've covered the slate pretty well. Hey, so let me mention this while we got some time and we got Carty. This was brought up in the Bat Discord today, which is always good. Someone was asking about sample size and when things like strikeout rates stabilize, and like don't get into the weeds in a few minutes on crunch time, but can you tell us like kind of vaguely why your projection system doesn't get as excited when a rookie, or not a rookie, today we're talking about Kyle Wright, when a guy in like 5 or 6 starts, strikeout rate goes up and it looks like it's real? Why are you not with us necessarily as quickly as we want you to be based on sample size.
Yeah, because mostly because even though it looks real over 5 starts, even if the peripherals are good, the swinging strike rate is there, or like whatever, like all those peripherals, everything you're looking at is prone to noise also. And so we had a large sample size for most players of what they've done historically. 5 starts is just not enough to like change completely who we think this guy is. What a projection is doing is with every subsequent data point, it's adjusting and moving more in the direction of, okay, he's done this year, but you're never just taking, he's done this year. You're combining, this is what he's done this year. This is what he's done historically. This is what we know about what players have done over these types of sample sizes, how often it's real, how often it's not real. And that's really what the projection is doing. And people don't like that answer because it feels like you're trying to play both sides, but that is actually how you maximize accuracy. Now, there are some things that the bat does not account for, which for a guy like Wright, it probably should be. Like Wright's stuff does look better this year, and the bat is not really fully accounting for stuff yet. It will when the bat X for pitchers is ready. So that's the kind of thing you want to kind of take into account on your own for the time being. But yeah, that's why it's not like, oh, well, Kyle Wright's got a 10 strikeouts per 9 this year. Let's just call him a 10 strikeout per 9 pitcher now. It's like, well, he's probably not. He's probably gotten a little bit lucky. He's probably going to regress a little bit because he really wasn't very good before this year.
And I have not read, you linked an article that I believe you wrote for Baseball Prospectus about stabilization rates.
Yeah.
I'm going to go read that tonight. Stabilization rates is something that interests me. Like, at what point do we know?
Yeah. And that article is like 10 years old now, but it's still like completely relevant because it's all just like the theory behind like stabilization and sample size and all this stuff.
Yeah. Does anybody have ownership numbers on the Yankees and anything? I'm very
really
curious.
I think it's going to rain till 10. Like, I think it's
like, I'm just kind of clicking through. I can't click any of mine because I got rid of them, but like, I'm so very curious. Let's see if we can find something here.
Judge 16% in single entry DK.
Okay. That's lower than it would have been, but that's very high if a game gets postponed, obviously.
Yeah.
Judge is 10% in the big, like, 20,000 person. So that's, he would have been like 20, 25. So they got lowered, but not, I mean, there's still large numbers if that game doesn't happen, of course.
Cortez 13%. Dan Jan just said that's again lower than it would have been, but still a big number.
Yeah. So I'm, we'll see what happens.
I have no idea. Like it's going to rain so long. Like it's going to rain for so long that they might finish this game at like 3 a.m. if they try to play it. Like,
and I don't want. I mean, I'll be asleep anyway, so I'm not. Yeah. I'm just not gonna. If they haven't actually postponed it in a few hours, I'm just gonna go to bed and not look at how I've done before it. So I don't want to. Right. I would hate to be like, I go to bed at 11, like, hey, I'm doing great, and then you 3 hours later, like, oh wait, they played that game and Judge hit 4 home runs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was fun. That was a good exercise in weathering. I enjoyed that. And I hope it works out. Whatever you did, hope everything works out. And let's get out of here. I feel content.
I feel great.
Yeah. I feel pretty good. Yeah.
I sadly have absolutely no idea what's in any of my lineups. But other than that, I feel fantastic.
All right. Let's get out of here. So for Cheese and for Carty and for our wonderful production crew, including the man, the myth, the legend, the birthday boy, Devin. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.